Hey, horror fans, once again, it's the Horror Miser Jr. And tonight we're going to talk about last night's excellent and very reviewing episode of American Horror Story Cult. Now, we're back in real time now after all the flashback that happened in the last episode, and then we see newsman Bob and Barbara, they're having a heated exchange because Bob tells her that it's really convenient that every time when we see these reports about the murders, you're always the first at the scene. This is going too far. Something's not right. Then Beverly tells him that they should air the Serena tape, and Bob says we can't because the family is going to upset the family they're threatened about soon because we didn't protect her enough. And of course, Barbara says, well, that's what happens when you have sex with a no-talent whore that Serena was. Bob has it. He can't take it anymore, and he says, F it. You're fired, Beverly. Beverly threatens him, are you sure you want to fire me again? Because you don't want to fire the only black woman that you have on your staff because she's going to sue. Later on, we cut to a basement scene where we see Kai and we see several people that we are familiar with. We see the Harrisons. We see the Wiltons, Harrison and Madison. We see Detective Kramer. We see Beverly. We see Beverly's cameraman, RJ. We see Winter. Winter tells them that, unfortunately, even though there's not really enough poll information, she tells us that no one really cares about the empty councilman seat that Kai is running for. No one cares about. Beverly says that maybe we should be more theatrical because we need to see the clowns. See the clowns? We'll get back to that one. After a very nice exchange between Kai and Beverly, someone starts walking down to the basement and Kai says, "You're late." And lo and behold, we pan to the side and it's Ivy! Ivy! Oh no! Yes, she's in on it. She's part of Kai's cult. Kill the opening credit scene. So after that nice revelation, which of course a lot of people had speculated that she was probably in on it, and now the truth is being told that she's actually is in on it. She's part of Kai's cult, and that's basically what we saw in there. Where there's a bunch of those people who have fallen for Kai's, what do you want to call it, Kai's word, and they believe in him. They worship the ground. They worship the ground that he walks on. They truly believe what he's attempting to do, and Ivy is one of them. We'll have to find out. We'll get to more about her later. Unfortunately, right now for Allie, who is seems to be falling apart, and her marriage is falling apart, and she sits with Dr. Vincent. She says that Ivy's left. She can only see Ozzy on supervised visits. She's closed out all their cards. She doesn't have any really money, only enough to get by, and she doesn't know what's happening, and she feels as though her whole world's falling apart. And we get a little flashback scene when Dr. Vincent asks her, did you really truly think you had a great relationship with Ivy? And we see a little flashback scene where Allie is trying to seduce Ivy, but Ivy's more concerned about running the restaurant, and she brushes off the romantic gesture, saying that whatever that she has spent, they can't afford it, and the romantic gesture was revoked. So back with the cult, Kai earlier says that we need to make another murder. We need to make the murders more dramatic, even have satanic something on to make the murders more splashy, get the people more afraid, so that way he can get the councilman seat. Eventually, they decide to murder Bob, and now everything comes in the focus. We see that in a scene earlier, I think it was 2 episodes ago, when they killed the 2 people in 10 caskets. We see the Harrisons. They sit to meet the Wiltons, Harrison and Harriet Marcia. We see Harriet. And I always forget her name. Bear with me for a second. I always forget her name. I don't know why. I see. Well, we'll just say that the Wiltons are there. It's the Wiltons are there. Beverly's there. Her cameraman is there. Detective Samuel is there, and so is Ivy and Winter. They're all dressed up in those creepy clown outfits that we've been seeing since the show began, letting to know that they are the ones that have been done. They did the killing. They killed the councilman. They've been scaring Allie. Oh yeah, and even the guy with the gimp arm with the I almost forgot about him too. The guy with his arm cut off, he's part of the cult too. Part of the cult too. Hey, look, if you're gonna shave your arm off for Kai, eventually you're gonna do his bidding as well. So eventually they went on ahead, and they're the ones that killed the people in the coffin in the 2 episodes before. So those are all the people that are dressed up in those creepy clown outfits. They're the ones that done all the killing. They're the one that killed Serena and her cameraman. And then they're done all the killing as well. So they get to Bob's house. They start chanting in Latin form. Someone asks if they do English, and Kai says no, Latin has always been scarier. And he's right. When you remember The Exorcist or any other demonic film, when they sing those Latin songs, those songs sound very creepy. They get to Bob's house. Next thing you know, they see Bob. He's into some real kinky S&M. He's got some gimp hooked up in meat hooks and all crazy crap. And they ask, should we kill the gimp? And Kai says, no other choice. And literally stabs the gimp to death, and the gimp he cries out in pain, and it's a real brutal murder scene. And eventually they go on ahead and kill Bob after they had stabbed him before. And Beverly is the only one who takes off her mask and says something MFer, and then she kills Bob with a hatchet. So of course, Beverly's the first one to report the news, very conveniently, and talks about they actually filmed the murder, which they did, and it's broadcast, and everyone's starting to scream. Everyone's getting real nervous now because the next meeting, Winter tells them that the polls are starting to come up. They're up 10% now, and Kai's a shoo-in to get that empty councilman seat. But Beverly seems to be going on more of the leader point, because in the previous episode, they said equal power when Beverly decided to go along with Kai's plan for world domination. And they decided that they have a weak link in their group, and the weak link needs to be destroyed. Now, we assume that it's Madison, because later on in the show, Allie finds Madison halfway buried in a grave when she sees Harrison and his boyfriend start kissing, and we see Madison in the grave. And eventually she tries to warn Allie that it's a cult, it's a sick cult, everyone's involved, Harrison's involved, even your wife Allie is involved. But she doesn't believe her. She retreats to her normal scared way, and next thing we know, we see Madison has been placed on a blanket and snatched. Now, we don't know where this is leading to, but obviously someone has taken Madison. Now, later on, we do find out that it's the cameraman RJ is the one they believe is the weak link, and eventually they're going to kill him. Ty decides to think that we're going to pump him full of nails with a nail gun and shoot him in his brain. Ivy is the only one who protests, because earlier in the scene, Ivy is a bit nervous, thinking they're all going to go to jail, and she actually admits that she hates her wife for doing what she did. I'm assuming that it was not voting for Hillary, because she did vote for Jill Stein, and I think she's the one that decided that she wanted to join the cult. So they eventually kill RJ. Ian Kai is the last one who kills him by pumping him in the back of his head. Pumped him, and he's dead. And then Kai have their little pinky square meeting. But it seems to be more controlled by Beverly than Kai, because Beverly says is that, where's the real Kai? I want to know who you are. Who are your parents? How come we don't know anything about them? He admits that they're dead. That it was a murder-suicide. But he says, well, how come I didn't hear anything about it? And then we finally get kind of a backstory about Kai. He's not the PhD guy that he has told everyone. And Beverly said, I don't believe that you are. You can feed that bullshit to someone else, but you can't feed it to me. So we find out that Kai is not the guy that he claims to be. He's a very smart guy, though. But unfortunately, we see that later on in life that his father, after a motorcycle accident, left him wheelchair bound, took his anger out on all his family members, between him, Winter, and his wife, up to the point that his mother took no choice but to kill his father and then kill herself. And then, second plot twist, how come we don't know anything about the burials? Well, it turns out that his brother, his older brother, who is no other than Dr. Vincent, tells them, hey, we're not going to do anything. He's in on it too. Just like I said, there's something fishy about Dr. Vincent. And this got revealed as well. So we got Ivy being part of the cult. Dr. Vincent is not only part of the cult, but he is also the older brother along with Kai and Winter. So they decide to go on ahead and lock the parents up, fill them up full with, I think, some type of chemicals so the bodies can't smell so bad, leave them locked up in the room. And they said, well, what about Winter? Well, we'll tell her when she gets back from Vassar. So, of course, she's broken-hearted when she sees the bodies there and says, well, how come we got to bury him? And says, well, who's going to pay for Vassar? Meaning they're going to keep getting their father's disability check so that way she can stay in college. And finally, we see Kai talk about how he misses his mother, and he's glad his father is rotting in hell. And we see Kai at a very vulnerable moment as he cries and Beverly hugs him. And that's how the show ended. So we got some very reviewing aspects of the show. I was kind of glad that they finally did show who are the clowns. We know that all the clowns are a part of Kai's cult. We know what the purpose of Kai cult is. We see that a lot of people had speculated, that Ivy was part of the cult, and that she is. I told you that there was something about Dr. Vincent I didn't like, and we found out he is not only part of the cult, but he is a relative of Kai and Winter. So why are there, so we don't know the reason why they're doing the things to Allie. Obviously, they got it from Ivy. Now, I don't know if this is something personal of Ivy, or she's got some type of grudge against her because she didn't vote for Hillary. I really don't know, but I love this episode. This is the best episode so far this year. This whole season's been pretty excellent. You really got to give it up for Evan Peters. I think Auntie Creeps asked me, did I love him in Hotel? And yes, I think he killed it in Hotel as Patrick March. You can tell that he really enjoyed it, and he's really doing the same thing here. He had a semi role in Roanoke last season, but he's really coming into his own in this season right there. So everyone's doing a pretty good job. I love Allison Phil. I love Sarah Paulson. She's really doing a good job right here. And any of the roles that she has played so far in American Horror Story, everyone's doing a pretty good job here. So hats off to the crew, hats off to the actors, and obviously hats off to the writers. They're really killing it this season. So you got to give props for American Horror Story Cult. So, what did you think of last night's episode? Were you surprised? Were you not surprised? I'm pretty sure a lot of you people did tell me that there's something about Ivy. And now those suspicions have been confirmed. So where will this go? What is the end game for Kai's cult? Comment below and let me know. We'll talk about it. And I'm pretty sure with only so many episodes to go left, I'm pretty sure we'll head down to where this ends and what will happen when Allie really finds out that Ivy has been the main reason why she's going crazy. That ought to be very interesting, and it could turn out to be very deadly too. Now, before I go, I want to give a couple shout outs. I don't know if any of you guys know, there is a special radio program for people who love horror like myself. It's called SCRM Radio. It's run by a good friend of mine. Her name is Tracy, spelled Tracee. She has a lot of good people that work with her. Auntie Creeps, the Reverend Hagen, Mr. Black Pasta. All those people, they do a wonderful job with SCRM Radio. I love everything that they do in there. If you are into horror, and if you want to listen to some very creepy stories, please listen to SCRM Radio. I'm going to leave a link in the description below. And also, I also want to give a shout out to my main brother, Reverend Hagen. He's part of the SCRM Radio. He also has his own YouTube channel. I'm going to go ahead and send a shout out to him. I'm also going to leave a link in the description below for his YouTube channel, so that way you can subscribe to him as well. Hold on for a second. So, like I was saying, yes, definitely subscribe to Reverend Hagen. He's a great narrator as well. He tells some real good creepy stories if you want to listen to him. So again, at SCRM Radio, and also the Reverend Hagen. Sorry, but not Dr. Reverend Hagen. I'm going to leave the description below for the Screen Radio and Reverend Hagen's YouTube channel. So definitely give them a listen. I believe you guys will enjoy it. So that's my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscriber button and also like this video as well. And that way you can become part of the horror experience with me, myself, the Horror Miser Monty G. Also, I will put all my links to my social media links in the description below. I am on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on Letterboxd as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember that horror rules.